I thought it was just an old letter, a historical piece of family history.
This is in your shed.
In the shed on the back shelf.
Got that ball from Babe Ruth, who signed it in 1927.
But I had no clue of what it really was.
When you go inside and you look at this, it's so brittle, but it's chock full of history. Where would you like to start? Did you bring stuff?
I did.
You bring goodies? You have them insured, right? Okay, just checking. Everything inside her satchel matches her outfit. Well, you know, another beautiful weekend in North Carolina means we have an antique show out here at the Metrolina Expo. The crowds are coming in, they're checking out the antiques, all the keepsakes, the jewelry and the furniture, you name it, it's out here because we have hundreds of dealers from all over the world that have brought their stuff. What did you bring out here? Besides a wad of cash. Chances are you probably have something laying around your house. You've been wondering about it. Maybe your significant is kind of telling you to get rid of it. Don't. You need to bring it out here. It's probably worth something. Look at that. It's like a little swan, little Japanese art. We have certified appraisers on site that will actually look at it and tell you what it's worth. And Chandler's going to take a look at this. We'll figure out what that means. You can rest assured knowing what the items are worth and go on your merry way, or you can sign up for a future televised auction. I'm Nathan Richie. We're out here at the International Collectible and Antique Show. You're watching the Carolina Appraisal and Auction Show.
Coming up, Skull and Bones and Secret Societies. A mysterious invitation left behind leaves one family bloodline asking questions. We take it for appraisal. And next, we get Chandler's perspective on a great find, as well as some tips and the essentials of the most wanted antiques. You're watching the Carolina Appraisal and Auction Show.
One of the great benefits of the Carolina Appraisal and Auction Show is that we have our own certified appraiser right here on location to tell you what your merchandise is worth. I'm sitting here with Chandler from Chandler's Auctions and Estates. You've been doing this a long time, yes?
20 plus years.
20 plus years, and now is a good time to be in this particular business because of the downturn in the economy. People are having to resort to some of the items they have in their homes, yes?
Well, there's a lot of reasons for it. In the antique industry, there's always been a great amount of popularity in this business, and it crosses every generation, every demographic. It's a very broad-based business. The thing that's transpired in the last 3 to 4 years with the downturn in the economy, the greatest drop since the Great Depression, I'm actually seeing stuff coming out of the woodwork right now in mass quantity.
You travel coast to coast, you see various items. What's hot right now as far as antiques and collectibles?
At Chandler's Auction and Estate Sales, we're interested in finding truth. We want to know real value, assimilate real value, and bring rare items to the market. That being said, it could be in any genre. It could be an oil painting. It could be a rare bottle of Chateau Lafite from 1982, a great wine.
And which seems, that's one of your specialties is wine, right? Vintage wine?
One of my specialties. It could be a great piece of Americana furniture, a great piece of Italian furniture. It could be a wonderful piece of jewelry. Van Cleef & Arpels, Tiffany. It has to be something so rare and so unique that a certain collector would want it in its original form, right fresh, right out of an estate. And that's what everybody wants. They want fresh things that are untouched, that have been in your grandmother's house and she's 85 years old and they've been in there for 50 years and no one's seen them. Those are the things that we want people to bring out to the Metrolina Expo for our appraisal and auction live, and we're going to promote it around the world on Live Auctioneer's platform, on all the New York trade papers, the West Coast trade papers, and it'll be a fun spectacle to see it.
Hanging out with Chandler, he's with Chandler's Auction and Estates, and we're out here at the Metrolina Expo at the International Collectible and Antique Show. Come on out here, Chandler's going to take care of you. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
And we'll be right back after this.
After the break, you're invited to learn about some secret history. And glancing through a magnifying glass reveals an ordinary vase is so much more. You're watching the Carolina Appraisal and Auction Show, presented by the International Collectibles and Antique Shows. The International Collectibles and Antique Show at the Metrolina Expo brings you a shopping experience like none other. Don't miss the next show, July 5th through 8th. There's something for everyone, from antique to shabby chic in Market Street. Just $5 for all 4 days. Exit 16A off I-77.
This ball has never been appraised.
Never been appraised.
I thought it was just an old letter, a historical piece of family history.
It's a true gem, and I am, as an auctioneer of 18 years, extremely excited to see this run.
It's always interesting to me to find out how the people that come out here obtain some of the items that they do actually bring out to the Metrolina Expo at these antique shows. Sitting here with James K. Hill Jr., you got an amazing piece here, a lot of back history. Rule number one of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. And you got all these secret societies that we've always heard about through history, and people have wondered who belongs and are they really true. Here's a piece of history right here. Tell me how you came across this stunning piece of artwork.
Well, we had actually, my fiance and I, last month came to the Metrolina Expo because we heard about the Chandler's auction and antique appraisal.
Right.
And we bought a few items that Chandler liked, and he said, well, you know, do you have anything else? And I said, well, I'll probably do in storage. I'm going to go and look for some things, and I'll come back next month. I was pulling through some of the things to get through the aisle of the storage building, and there were some old pictures, and I pulled this out, and my fiance was standing there, and she said, what's this? I said, well, it's something from the Brick House, which is an estate in New York that now it's a museum in Orange County, which was where my grandfather's home was for 8 generations or 7 generations of the Hill family. I would have been the 8th.
Right.
And it's in Montgomery, New York. It was part of the Brick House when my dad and my mother married. Some items that he bought home from the house were hanging on the wall, and then my mother gave it to me about 20 years ago. And it's been in storage ever since. But I thought it was just an old letter, a historical piece of family history, but I had no clue of what it really was.
But the exciting part is, as you have uncovered and done more research on it, all of this has some kind of important historical notation. Everything from the dates that are mentioned into this letter down in here, this little emblem that is mentioned in here, even some of the letters that you see up in here, they all have some reference to the historical meaning of this. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, one of the things is a great surprise to find out my great-great-grandfather was in a secret society.
Right.
And this was the Scroll and Key Society at Yale, which actually the building still exists today, and it's still a very secret, organization. And this letter, which is dated
March
11th, 1852. Right. But this was a letter where my great-great-grandfather was actually inducted into the secret society. We've figured out.
Right.
But it's not stated exactly what the society was.
Right.
He thought it was just a Phi Epsilon. But everything points to, with the progression of these documents, that this was the night he was inducted. This letter goes with these documents and with this item. And this letter is a very important letter because it's the date of it. It's November 11th, 1869. And it's not announcing what the invitation is for. It just says to appear.
Right.
Okay. And so the members went to wherever they met at the time, and they appeared. Well, this so happened to be the night of, if you'll look here at the documentation we were able to find.
November 25th, 1869, the date of the fall ZS, and you can actually see the ZS up here. And there's another letter here that was important, which is G.
It was the letter of the secretary without the name.
Right, so because they didn't want to talk about who was involved in it.
And they always say, like, your dear brother and yours in truth, but no names are ever mentioned. But the significance of this date was this was the night of the Silver Spade groundbreaking of the building of what is still there today, their own clubhouse. So it's the same as like Skull and Crossbones, or Skull and Bones, the night of groundbreaking for that institution. This is where they got their own clubhouse. They'd raised the money, and they surprised everybody. We've got the money, and they went out and did a procession, sang songs, and broke ground.
James, continued success to you, and good luck. The next step for James is to go over to see Chandler. Chandler's going to take a look at it and actually tell him what it's worth. And of course, you're wanting to take it to auction, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
Good luck to you, and thanks for stopping by and for bringing this out. This is amazing.
Thank you. Great. Well, this historic document is sentimental. I will say that. It's it's my heritage. It's my history. It's such a rich piece of American history. I mean, the groundbreaking of this famous structure that's still there today, and the secret society. But we have some other things too, and so the sentimental only goes so far, because if it's worth a lot of money, I'm willing to sell it.
Here at the Metrolina Exposition Center and the ICA shows, in conjunction with my auction company and auction gallery, Chandler's Auctions, we're interested in finding the rarest things in the world, the best things in the world, finding the truth of those items, and then offering those items for sale. I'd love to offer this piece at auction at our first televised live auctioneers platform auction here at the Metrolina Exposition Center during the ICA Antique Show weekend. We could usually ascertain a value or a range of value based on comparisons of previous items that have been up for sale, but I'm elated to say that it's going to be very hard to ascertain value for this. It's something that with the correct marketing, with contacting Yale, with all the different things that we do to research something, provenance of your family's estate, all those will play an important role in the value. So this is one of those rare items that we can't ascertain a value. We're going to have to let the market set the value for something like this, which is fantastically unique, and we're certainly glad that you brought it in and that you contacted us to show it off. It's a true gem, and I am, as an auctioneer of 18 years, extremely excited to see this run.
I'm excited too. Very excited.
Thanks for bringing it.
After the break, rummaging through the shed reveals an interesting find just hanging out on a shelf. And what does duck hunting, New Bern, North Carolina, and Babe Ruth have in common? We'll tell you all about it coming up on the Carolina Appraisal and Auction Show. The International Collectibles and Antique Show at the Metrolina Expo brings you a shopping experience like none other. Don't miss the next show, July 5th through 8th. There's something for everyone, from antique to shabby chic and Market Street. Just $5 for all 4 days. Exit 16A off I-77.
This ball has never been appraised.
Never been appraised.
I thought it was just an old letter, a historical piece of family history.
It's a true gem, and I am, as an auctioneer of 18 years, extremely excited to see this run.
Again, one of those examples of merchandise that you come across that you wonder how people get it. Oftentimes it's right under their noses. This is in your shed, is what you told me.
In the shed on the back shelves.
And the property that you found it on is your own property that was handed down through time. It was your mother's place?
Yeah.
And before that, it was somebody else in your family?
Yeah.
Because Deborah here is from Charlotte, and you guys, your ancestry goes all the way back to the beginning of Charlotte.
Yes.
But what was it about this particular item in your shed while you were cleaning up that you thought, I got to take that piece? That piece stood out.
Well, I turned it over and I looked.
Oh, yeah.
And I, got out my magnifying glass and I'm going, okay, I think we found the big one.
All along here, you can see in the right light with a magnifying glass, it says Tiffany.
Tiffany, LC Tiffany.
Right.
Ink, and then the design, and then it's got 2 sets of numbers.
Right. So you knew it was special at that point, didn't you?
And I'm going, what's it doing in the shed?
And you had some other things in your shed as well, right? Mm-hmm. You had some different china and things that were painted differently. So you wanted to bring this in. You checked out the website. Mm-hmm. Website said to bring a couple items in.
2 items.
And you thought this one's going to get me on TV, right?
Uh-huh. I said this one will get us in the door.
So what are you thinking you want to do with this? Now that you know a little bit about it, they've told you that it came from the 1920s.
Yeah.
And you're thinking
turn of the century, 1920s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of gave you a ballpark of around $2,000 or $3,000, and you're thinking you'd like to have some of that money in your pocket, yeah?
Mm-hmm. That, and we're the last of the line, me and my sister, so there's nobody for it to go to,
right?
And nobody to care about it. So let's find somebody else to love it.
And there's some other things in your shed. I think we'll probably see you again on this show.
I know, he wants to do my house.
I bet he does. So you're going to go talk to Chandler next, and Chandler's going to give you some more information about this and how you can take it to auction.
He wants to do the closets and the garage.
I bet he will. I'd like to come over to your house and check out your closets as well, because I bet you got a lot of stuff. Deborah Kaiser, thanks for stopping by the Metrolina Expo and checking out the show, and thanks for bringing this wonderful piece. Good luck to you.
I hope it does well. Found it in a shed on the property. It was just sitting out on the shelf. It was on the back wall, bunch of shelves, and it was second from the bottom. Also checking the signature to see if it looked anything like original signatures, and it did. So then I went hunting on the internet to see what it was worth. When I find out what it's worth, it's going to auction.
Well, what you have here is a Fadrille Tiffany vase. Tiffany was known for his Favreau glass. Favreau stands for handmade. Tiffany also did lamps and stained glass windows, and he patented the iridescent type process of making the glass. This glass
Changes color in the light.
yeah, it reflects light and it changes colors. And this vase, you know, I would estimate it between $2,000 and $3,000 at auction.
After the break, baseball, duck hunting, New Bern, and Babe Ruth. An interesting story about a significant piece of history. And hard work pays off. A historical book from the 1700s given as a gift. Coming up on the Carolina Appraisal and Auction Show.